AAC, not talking about air conditioning. I'm talking about what I think are one of the collective biases that are the biggest problems when we invest in almost anything. Stands for availability, attention, and confirmation biases. They are interchangeable and they're also separate. They can work together and work against each other. So just keep that in mind when you look at it. But they are the three most common biases that we exhibit when it comes to money, when it comes to investing, but also when it comes to your expenses as well. Spending tends to get really caught up in these three. So let me go through them. Attention bias. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not trying to sort of reinvent anything for you, but your attention and getting caught up on something and the decision that it creates means that you've obviously lost your ability to see the bigger. So your attention might be on something this big when realistically it needs to be on something this big. Great example of attention bias is when you start to see on the media, they talk about maybe the market going through a certain point, some form of investment doing something incredibly impressive, and your attention gets drawn to it. But the information required to actually do that investment or to actually be involved with it gets lost because your attention's on that one spot rather on the whole. Then you look at something like confirmation bias. This is something we hear about in everyday life these days, particularly with the rise of social media. Confirmation bias is clear what that is also in the fact that if you want to actually have a belief and get it confirmed, it's pretty easy these days, just log on in line and away you go. But confirmation bias also means that your overall belief or your investment thesis or your use of money, if you want to confirm that, you don't know if you're wrong or right. And for all you know, therefore, even if you are right, if you keep going and confirming your view with views that are held exactly the same, you won't actually be able to think outside the bubble. You won't therefore also know that despite it might be a good idea, when to actually exit and when to actually therefore go, my trade was correct, my investment was correct, I need to now actually say to myself, it all worked and I need the information to tell me that I need to get out. And that's the condition with confirmation. The final one with regards to the overall information is availability. We're always taught at university around this idea that we have perfect information in economics. And straight away, as soon as you hear that, that's not true. We cannot have perfect information. You do not, and unfortunately, even with the worlds of computers, have the availability to every piece of information out there. But we do make decisions on the available information that we have. And the catch with that is that sometimes it's very, very small. And the available information can be as simple as, I saw this person do that person I believe in, and therefore I should do it. And that's what sort of came about with something like GameStop. In 2021, this company that is a very run-of-the-mill American company of basically bricks and mortar second-hand gaming scenarios went from being a run-of-the-mill stock listed over in the US to being this astronomical play because a group of Reddit readers didn't like what was going on with regards to some hedge fund managers. That was the reason it was moving. But your available information didn't see that. All that you saw was these people making a huge amount of money. And the reason versus the available information was lost. And people were making decisions off the wrong available information that was there. And GameStop became a very, very good example of why availability bias is one of those ones that can really catch you out. Because you are clearly seeing something that confirms your ideas. Again, the overlay here, it catches your attention, and the available information all confirmed the reason that people did this. And that's the reasons why AAC, in my view, is a bias that you've got to be aware of. So again, how do you get around it? How do you break them? Well, it's not as simple as going, well, let's just do the opposite. It's about understanding that each one of them has their pros and their cons. Confirming your view is fine, as long as you can also find the view that counters that, and you can therefore justify or argue against the opposite view. Attention. Yes, this might be the world, but just expand out a bit further. It just takes a couple of additional clicks these days on your computer to just get more information into your overall sort of processing before you make the decision. And then the one that's obviously needs to be really highlighted on is around your attention. Attention is designed by human nature to make you be able to shortcut things, but just widen it ever so slightly. Can you get your ability to attend to things that are not normally catching your attention? Can you look at other sources around it? If you can do that on a regular basis, it won't necessarily fix the issue immediately, but it can develop a habit that can get around the issues that come with those three biases that we all have.